This is my 2023 BMW 530e, and honestly, it's the best car I've ever owned. I bought this car around 2 years ago as my second car when I was completely fed up with my 2012 BMW 328i. That car just kept breaking down. It spent more time in a workshop than on the road. So yeah, I kind of overcorrected. I went from a cheap, poorly maintained 11-year-old BMW to a brand new car in perfect condition, fully under warranty. In my head, the logic was simple. New car, warranty, no problems. Yeah, I was wrong. Just a few months after buying the car, at around 20,000 kilometers, the gearbox failed. That repair took 2 months. And let me be clear, the repair that takes 2 months under warranty is not free, because you're still paying close to $900 every single month for a car that you're not even using. And now, at around 50,000 kilometers, I'm dealing with even more issues.
Just 29 errors.
Just 29 errors.
Yeah, there. I guess maybe 7 or 8. But it's more than that. Oh my god, the car is towed.
What are you doing to my car? I can hear the engine from all the way from the outside.
Checking
It's a
your engine.
hybrid. This is not supposed to be revved or heard.
Bro, guess how many fault code?
It is my
Yeah.
car, so it's supposed to be over 20.
Oh, over 20.
Over 20.
Yeah.
Over 20.
Yeah, over 20. Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it like
correct.
50 or
29.
20? These cars are meant to be broken, right?
Yeah.
Meant to be
Yeah.
broken. That's how they come
Just,
from the factory.
yeah, just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So, I sent my car to the dealer on 9th of September and I explained all the issues I was having. That included the car jerking when switching from electric mode to petrol while driving, which can be a sign that the starter is starting to go bad. I also mentioned that the turbocharger was way louder than it should be. And I basically just left the car there for them to test and diagnose. After 8 days of brutally testing my car, and yes, I could see it in the BMW app that the fuel consumption was insanely high. Every time they took it out, they finally got back to me. And basically, they said that my turbo doesn't sound rough to them and the car has no issues when switching from hybrid to petrol. To me, it just sounded like they were trying to avoid solving the problem. They even called the vibration normal, which makes zero sense because this isn't my first time driving this car and it's not my only hybrid car either. So we decided that I would go and test drive the car together with their technician. She said the car has normal jerking. There's no such thing as normal jerking. How can you say a 300,000 ringgit car has normal jerking?
I think she used the wrong phrase. It's not to say normal jerking.
No, I have the message. She said normal jerking. That is insane. To be fair, the technician was actually very helpful and understanding, and he agreed that the jerk wasn't normal. Based on their diagnosis, they went ahead and replaced the engine and gearbox mountings, which, in my opinion, did not solve the issue. And this dragged on until the 6th of November, almost 2 months after I sent the car in. Just got back from BMW. They told me that the car has normal jerking, which is insane. Normal jerking on a freaking 300,000 ringgit car. Saying it has normal jerking really pissed me off. But then I came in to test the car with their technician, and we did test the car, and we realized that it does have some jerking, but they won't be able to fix it. He literally said that there's nothing they can do, which is, I mean, I guess that's the end of the story. There's nothing they can do until the part goes completely bad.
Which means
Stage 3 the out of the car.
Yeah, which actually does mean that we need a new starter. And since this warranty has proved itself to be completely useless, we can do a big turbo, even unlock it at this point. I mean, if you're doing forced pistons, or I might just sell the car. Good morning, bro.
Good morning, bro.
So this is a 2018 BMW F90 M5. I made a bet to myself
What is that?
last December. When I sold the F30, on the day that I sold the car, I told myself, when I sell this car, the next car I'm getting is an F90 M5 within less than a year. What I'm getting next probably is I will sell the G30 and I will probably within a year or less get a F90. No more cars. So we are doing a pre-purchase inspection on this 2018 BMW F90 M5, which is the best car BMW has ever made. There's nothing that is ever gonna come that is gonna top this car. BMW peaked with this car. There's nothing above it. There's nothing that is ever gonna be above it. The moment I get this car, there's nothing else that I could get that would satisfy me. Where do you go after this?
Normal thing, right? From BMW to the Porsche.
Is this,
Oh,
you
wow.
call this a daily car?
This is a daily. This is like
a daily
the
car.
daily. This is the daily. This is not a daily. This is the daily of the dailies. I can't believe we are even doing this. Even if I don't end up with this car, I can't believe that I set this 10 months ago and the car is actually here. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. The car does have a check engine light, and as the car is asking us to, we are checking the engine. Right now there is stock downpipe, or
Yeah, stock dumper.
so the check engine light is a little concerning, isn't it? I mean, we are checking the engine, so I wish this had whiskey instead of tea.
The S-scope is missing.
Okay, that is good news.
This side also missing.
Probably because they did an Venturi on this car before. So you already checked the coils?
Yeah. One side is Dynan and one side is stock.
That is great news. Somebody treated this car with enough respect to not even change all the coils when they replace the coils. So that's exactly what you get when you find the cheapest cars in the market when you're buying cars. Okay, so if I didn't basically live in a workshop, I would be a little concerned. Some of the common issues with this car, very minor issues, is rod bearings. I heard. Minor issues. But I mean, it's not an issue here, right?
Correct.
Even if it's
Yeah.
a rod bearing,
We can fix it.
Yeah, we can fix it, and we can, you know, change the rods while we're at it. One of the weak points with these engines, if you want to push over 1,000 horsepower, is the rods and head bolts. We are definitely not gonna push this car over 1,000 horsepower. So considering that I have this G30 that is still here, I always loved how the pre-LCI G30 and F90 looked, especially with the headlights and the lip and everything. So comment down below and let me know if we ended up with the F90, should I do an LCI conversion or not? Because I love the pre-LCI, but I've come to love this car as well. And obviously I can't keep both the G30 and the F90. I can, but like it would be very stupid to do. We are missing an undercarriage cover. Oh, this is like broken. Oh, so we need to change this too. It is tied with a, oh no. Hey bro, these undercarriage covers are expensive. Why are these hoses zip tied to the car? What is this? What kind of a janky M5 is this? Like bro, the car fits me so well. We need to get like a guard for this oil cooler, right? This is the oil cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get like a guard because this is like so exposed. Can you imagine a rock hitting this and like
Shit.
all the oil spilling out and like a stage 3 fully built engine? Yeah.
There, the downpipe.
2 catted stock downpipes with a check engine light. That is great news. The front tires are in okay shape. The rear tires, however, if you come and have a look, it looks like the previous owner did a rolling burnout before handing the car to the showroom. This exhaust, however, what we can do when we drive out of the shop until we build the full system for it, we can cut and do an X pipe here.
Oh.
Oh, another undercarriage cover problem. This is also torn up. Where did they drive this car? Did they off-road the thing? What the is this? Oil pan is not plastic.
Yeah.
There won't be a hole in it ever, like we did in the 330e. Guaranteed we have to change the transmission fluid because the car has 90,000 kilometers. So since this car is all-wheel drive, do we have to change the front differential
Front
fluid?
and rear diff also.
Transmission fluid, front and rear diff fluid. Engine oil, we will just change anyway because we don't know what the hell they have in this thing. Rear diff seal is leaking. That is great.
Axle mounting. This axle mounting. Undercarriage is done. You can drop the car.
Please don't drop the car. So bro, all the control arm, lower arm, upper arm bushings, all okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to know how much they cost for like an M5. One of the most important things that I wanted in an M5 was carbon ceramic brakes option. This car does have, and then in terms of brake pads, I don't want to know how much they cost, but it looks like
It has a lot.
maximum 2 weeks worth of brake pads. What kind of a cheap, shitty carbon is this? Bro, this has to come off.
So, how much does this brake cost?
80,000 ringgit, $20,000 option from BMW. That is around, I don't know, so each one of them costs $5,000, 20,000 ringgit from BMW. This is actually the price for an F82, not for an F90. Why do I always go for like the jankiest cars, bro? This is why you should do a pre-purchase inspection before buying cars, by the way. So this car comes with LED headlights, not lasers. I mean, I have LEDs on my 5 Series as well. I would prefer lasers, but I mean, carbon ceramics. Looks like there's a nick here. There are a ton of stone chips in the front bumper. This front bumper has to be repainted. You can't avoid the stone chip. Doesn't this bonnet look darker than the fender?
Actually, the hood and bumper is the same color.
The
These
fender
two fenders are different colors.
looks like they've been painted.
Actually, when it was up, I noticed that something under the car was painted as well. Like some parts of the car. But I was like,
Probably they
maybe
put
that's
the
normal.
carbon fiber to cover up something.
We are not doing great with this car, are we? There's like this girl that you want to date and she has all these red flags. She's mentally unstable. She she has to go to therapy like 6 times a week. She's a heavy drinker. She's on all types of drugs and medications for her to calm down. But this is great. This is stuck! Holy shit!
What is this?
How does it have this aggressive pops and bangs with stock downpipes? Maybe they emptied the downpipe. I think the reason we have a check engine light, this pops and bangs cannot be stock downpipe, which means we have to make like proper RPM heat shielded downpipes for it.
Cost of tires, cost of fuel,
Cost of fuel is gonna be insane. I mean, going from a hybrid with RON 95 to a 4.4 liter V8 non-hybrid is gonna be
fun.
because this car, I get like what, 3 liters per 100 kilometers. That car, I'm probably gonna get 30. I need a lot of you guys to subscribe.
Oh, yeah. So, 4 cars with this is gonna be 5.
5 cars.
How are you gonna?
You can only drive one car at a time.
So basically, he has to get 2 more so he can drive one
Every day of the week. I think after this, I might start selling cars. If we end up with this car, it looks a bit janky, even for my standards.
Another one.
Like the fact that they emptied the downpipe instead of actually buying downpipes is a little bit out of my comfort zone. That's a bit up, right? Such an expensive car, and like maintaining it like it's a These are the same people who always complain that BMWs are unreliable. Yeah, tell me you can't afford an M5 without telling me you can't afford an M5. You hear it?
Like a little Misfire also.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad, huh?
5 less forecourt
Than my
compared to the LCI car. This is 22. That day your car is 27.
Amazing. Catalytic converter number 1, catalytic number 2. So the check engine could be...
Yeah.
That is such a disrespect to this car, honestly. So the next thing we are gonna check the car for any misfires. So we have to check each bank separately.
Yeah. We do have some misfires on the cylinders, but it's not horrible. Bank number 2, yeah. I think the plugs
are gone. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna data log the car to see the live data from the car, see whether it's running as it should or not. The OBD port is loose. Okay, we are actually good to go. So now I'm gonna put the car in its sportiest setting. Then I'm gonna do one pull on third gear from 1500 RPM until red line, and I'm gonna have all the live data I'm gonna need from the engine to see how it's running. It's way too fast. My dumbass kept the phone on the roof of the car, and the phone dropped, obviously, with this much power. But shout out to Brand, the phone is in perfect shape. Damn. Look at this, the case is obviously damaged, but look at the phone. The phone dropped, you can tell that it's...
Oh my
God. The glass
God.
is damaged, the case is damaged, the phone is in perfect shape. And the phone fell face down. That's insane.
Phone survived M5.
Nice. I love the brakes on this car. This is the result of the data log. At around 1700 RPM, we did full throttle the car. The ECU started asking for 1 bar of boost. The turbo did manage to give. At the end, around 4800 RPM, ECU was asking for around 1.5 bars of boost. The turbos were only giving us 1.3, which is a little concerning. There might be a leak somewhere, or I hope the turbos are not gone, because that would be very expensive. It looks like the high pressure pump is doing its job properly. Then we need to look at the ignition, which is what we suspected. These lines are supposed to be in one clean line. If your spark plugs and your coils are healthy. Car has wear and tear, and it has been neglected a little bit, which is kind of reflecting on its price. But as long as I know what I'm getting into and I know about what I need to do when I get the car, I think we are good. And all of this can be discussed with the dealer in order for me to either solve it or move on to another car. In the end, after the PPI, the F90 M5 deal didn't go through, but somehow I still walked away with one hell of a car.